Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be super exciting. I've been so excited to show you guys how I do my acrylic nails, and we're finally here. This video is going to be long, so make sure you guys grab some snacks. But before we jump into this video, I just want to welcome any new subscribers. Welcome to my channel. My name is Maddie. I'm a beauty content creator. I also started recently vlogging so that you guys could get to know me a little bit better. And this year is really exciting for me because I just started my acrylic nail journey, and this is my first tutorial. So just a little disclaimer, I want to let you guys know that I am not a nail technician by any means. I'm not trying to be a nail technician. I basically just wanted to start doing my own nails because after quarantine, it just became really hard finding a good nail artist. And then when I did find a good nail artist, it was really hard to make it to the salon. You know, I have 3 kids, for those of you who don't know. So just sitting in a salon all the time is just really difficult for me to do. So I just said, you know what, let's try. So here we are. And I'm going to basically talk through what I'm doing. And hopefully you guys get to be inspired to try to do something different, something challenging. And like I said, there's probably so many things that I'm not doing correctly, but I am learning. If any nail techs come across this video, I would love some tips and tricks so that I could, get better. But yeah, let's just jump right in. So as you guys have been seeing, I'm basically using this cuticle pusher to just push back my cuticles. Don't mind my crusty looking hands and my nails look wild because I just have soaked off my previous set. But you guys are going to see how I prep the nail. And it's crazy because when I used to get my nails done in the salon, like I've gotten my nails done for years, guys. So a lot of what I've learned has been through YouTube, but when you do something for so many years, you just tend to watch. And I mean, many times you get your nails done, you're watching the nail tech. And so this is why I felt like I was comfortable to start doing this, because of all the years of me watching them do my nails. But I've never really seen anybody prep my nails the way I've seen a lot of amazing nail techs on YouTube do it. And I could tell you guys that I haven't had any lifting, any problems with my nails whatsoever. And this is literally my 5th set. I've never practiced before. It's my 5th time dealing with acrylic. And the reason why I don't really want to use a practice hand is because I'm just learning on myself. I want to use my left and my right hand to really learn how to work with the products. But prepping the nail is like the major key to having your acrylic last long. And so using that nail cuticle pusher really helps push the nail back so that you could clean up the cuticle. And then I bought this 180-100 nail file. I have a video that I did with all the links from Amazon, so I'm going to be linking that in the description bar so you guys can see all the products that I use will be there. But I know a lot of YouTubers use their nail drill to do this part, but my nails are a little bit on the thinner side, so I just feel like using this nail file. This is on the softer side, so it's on the 180 side, which is for the natural nails. And I just find that buffing it this way really helps to smooth out my nails, clean up the cuticle, and I'm not using the nail drill as much. For me personally, I try to avoid using the nail drill so much because I don't want to damage my real nail. That was really my main concern with starting to do my own nails, because you really have to just be careful. And I apologize guys that I'm a little bit out of frame in some of the clips. I was getting a little into what I was doing, and it's my first time filming myself. I am gonna get like an actual tripod so that we could be at a higher angle, so no matter where I move my hands, you guys could see what I'm doing. And I was nervous, honestly guys, to create a tutorial because I know there's so many things I'm probably doing wrong, but at the end of the day, the results are there. My natural nails aren't damaged, and they look really pretty. So I'm basically gonna continue filing all my fingernails, and then we're gonna start cutting the cuticle. And the funny thing is that when I've gone to nail salons, I'm basically referring back to my experience with getting my nails done. I've never had a nail tech cut my cuticles before applying tips, and I get a lot of growth around my cuticle area. So doing my nails this way, when I first did my set, I didn't do it this way. Then I started watching more tutorials and I started doing it this way, really taking time to prep the nail really well. And cutting the cuticle really makes such a difference, because once I apply the acrylic, I only use the nail drill to seal the acrylic, and we're going to get into that later on. But you see that I don't have to really use the drill as much to try to drill off skin, because that's how you end up cutting yourself. So we're gonna move on by cutting our cuticles, and you want to take your time with this because you don't want to cut yourself. I do my own pedicures and I do this part all the time, so I'm pretty comfortable with cutting my cuticles. But you're just gonna do that, and you can see how much skin I'm actually like getting out of there, but it looks so pretty once they're all cleaned up. So I do this again to all my fingers, and then we're gonna move on to applying our tips. So for today's nail tips, I'm going to use the Easy Basket by Nails Gaga. I also got this on Amazon. I really love these because they're already stiletto shaped and they're very straight, which I love because my natural nails tend to grow with a curve. So I like that they're straight because I'm able to shape them to my liking. And if I use a lot of acrylic, it won't be so obvious because the nails are straight, if that makes sense. I think with a curved nail, if you use too much acrylic, they're going to look really curvy and it's going to look very thick. So I'm using this nail bond glue. I also bought this on Amazon. It was a little pricey for nail glue, but guys, it sticks so well. So well to the point that if you put it on and it's crooked, it's going to stay like that. I haven't really had an issue with putting on a crooked nail that's super obvious. If it's a little crooked, I just try to shape it in a way where it looks a little bit more straight. But you're basically just going to put that on there. And I didn't wash my hands before that. I didn't want to wash my hands because I just don't think water and this process would mix well. So I just took a little brush and dusted off my fingers a little bit. And I also pre-measured the nails just so that we could speed up the video a little bit. But I also, as you could tell, like I'm putting the nail, measuring the nail before I glue it on again, just to be sure that I got it right. Because if you have a nail that's too small, it's going to really hurt. I definitely don't recommend that. So it's better to have a nail that's a little bit bigger on the sides that you could shape and file than having a nail that doesn't cover your edges correctly. And what I love about the stiletto shape already is that if you want a coffin shape, all you got to do is cut the tip and it's going to give you the coffin shape. I'm going to show you guys what I do and how I cut them so that I could still get that stiletto / almond shape that I've been loving. And I did 2 sets with the coffin shape, but I have to really perfect that shape. I don't feel like I've mastered it yet. I think that's gonna definitely take me some practice. But with stiletto nails or almond shape, I feel like I can have them longer because they're much slimmer. So this is why I've been really making them super long, because I could function with them. When I have long coffin nails, it's a little bit harder for me because they're more bulkier. So I'm just gonna continue applying the tips to all my fingernails, and then I'm gonna show you guys what I do next. So I was a little bit hesitant on playing this without fast forwarding because I don't know if you guys would actually sit here for a whole hour. When I watched other YouTube videos, I deadass sat there for an hour watching the full video through, but I just wanted to do this video to show you what I'm doing. As I get better, I will do more in-depth tutorials. Let me know if you guys want that as well. But for today's video, I'm just gonna fast forward so that we can keep it moving. But this was actually really fun to watch this video because I'm actually watching it right now as I'm talking about it. So it's really interesting, and I wouldn't mind doing this every 2 weeks. Every time I do a set, just film and give you guys something different to watch. Alright guys, so now that we have the tips on, I'm basically going to use this nail clipper. I love this thing. The link is also going to be in the Amazon video. I'm going to provide the link down below, so don't worry about that. But when I did a set last time, I felt like I clipped them a little bit too short. So this time, I'm doing it right below the number that's at the top of the tip. And as you can see, cutting them this way automatically gives me that coffin shape. But that's not the shape that I'm really going for. So I'm going to use a nail clipper to clip the sides of the tip, and I show you guys how I do that as well, so that when I'm filing them, they go back into the stiletto shape that they had. Because I think if you leave it like this and you try to do stiletto, it's just a lot more filing. And I'm not gonna lie, when I did this, I think it was like in my last set or the one before, where I was really nervous about clipping the sides, but I seen them do this on YouTube as well. So just take your time with this part because you don't want to end up messing this part up. So when you're doing your non-dominant hand, just take your time, always clip a little bit less than what you think you want to do, because you could always go back and adjust it and clip a little bit more, as opposed to doing them too short than what you wanted and then you got to go back and do the other hand again. But I haven't really had a problem with this part because that nail clipper is so sharp, and you know, it's pretty easy to just get them to match, especially because I'm clipping right below the number. So now I'm going to move on and I'm going to show you guys how I do this. So you just basically want to clip the sides, and it's going to form kind of like a triangle at the tip. So you're going to see. So just this, take your time, the edge of each corner, and then it's going to kind of look like a triangle. It looks a little weird, but I promise you guys, as you're filing, it just comes together and you're able to make it really pointy like stiletto or a little bit rounded. I go for the rounded because, you know, I can't be walking around with nails that can stab somebody. But this part really made it so much easier when you're filing it to get that shape back. So you're going to do this to all your nails. Now I'm gonna get my drill ready, and I'm switching out the bits because I want to go for something a little bit smoother, not so aggressive. And I'm gonna show you guys what I do. This is another thing that I learned off YouTube. I don't recall any nail tech doing this when I would get my nails done, but I'm basically gonna just drill down the part where the tip ends. So I'm not really drilling my natural nail, just the part that I glued on, the edge, I guess you could call it. And I know some parts are not in frame, I'm sorry, but when I'm using the drill I get a little nervous because, you know, that drill scares me a little. Now I'm not so afraid because I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. This part is very important because you're smoothing out that tip with your natural nail. It's going to allow the acrylic to lay better, and you're also drilling out any parts that may be sticking out. If the sides are sticking out a little bit, you're able to just really smooth that out. And I find that this has made a big difference in how long my nails have been lasting. And I also been roughing up the tip. I didn't do this in all my nail sets, but I've been doing it recently. I think if you're doing clear nails, I don't know if I would do this part. I haven't done it myself. So if any nail techs out there are watching this, let me know if it makes a difference. I'm not too sure, but I've been doing this just so that it could rough up the tip a little bit so that the acrylic just lays better. But you can really see the difference in how flat the nail looks. It literally looks like it's my nail at some point. So just really take your time. I use the drill in the lowest possible setting. I'm so afraid of cutting myself with this thing because I can't tell you how many times people who have done my nails have cut me. So I really use it on the lowest setting possible, low pressure. I'm not really forcing it, just letting the machine do its thing, going back and forth so that we're not stuck on one part, and just smoothing everything out. So now I'm using the side that has 100 grit, I guess is what you call it. I'm sorry if I'm jacking up the terminology, but like I said, I'm not a nail tech, so I'm going off based on what I learned. But basically the rougher side of this nail file, and I'm basically now shaping it into the shape that I wanted. I'm so sorry that my first 2 fingernails didn't get filmed. Thankfully, I looked over at my camera and realized that it wasn't filming anymore, so I would have been so mad if I didn't get any of this, because I do think this part is important. I haven't even applied acrylic yet, guys, and you can see how nice the shape is already looking. This makes a huge difference. You just want to hold on to the tip when you're filing, but this nail glue is so strong that I have not had a problem with the nail tip just popping off. But I'm just taking my time filing the sides, going straight. And when you're filing, you want to make sure that the natural tip, your natural nail and the tip is very smooth all throughout the nail. So if you have any parts that are sticking out on the sides, if say the tip was a little bit too big, you want to make sure you file that down if you didn't do it before you put the nail on, even though I recommend you doing it before you put the tip on. But sometimes, there's some little parts of nails that could be sticking out, so just make sure you file everything straight. And I'm basically going straight from my natural nail to the tip. Once I get to the edge of the nail, I'm going at an angle to get that stiletto shape, or stiletto / almond. I'm not quite sure how to call it, because I do feel like these look a little almond, but they are kind of stiletto. It's like a hybrid, I guess. But yeah, just going basically to the side until that triangle that we had at the top forms. So just take your time and make sure that everything looks straight. This part actually took me quite some time, because you're really filing the nail. But once I apply the acrylic, even though I'm still gonna file again, and I think I do it another time again to get it really nice and straight and beautiful and even, I do believe that filing this part before applying acrylic makes it much easier, especially when you're laying your acrylic down. Alright guys, so this is the part where you guys are going to be like, what the hell is she doing? So my original plan was to encapsulate the nails, which is basically taking like little accessories like this and putting it within the acrylic. Unfortunately, I didn't know that the acrylic I was using was so thick and the glitter was thick, so they didn't even end up showing. So just disregard it. I did it just to continue to practice the encapsulation, but we're going to ignore that part. So right here, I'm using the Modanolis dehydrator and their primer. I do one hand at a time, just because I think it's better to do it right before you're about to apply the acrylic. But these 2 things have worked amazing. I haven't had any burning issues or anything like that, so I definitely recommend, because I have not had a single issue with lifting. And I mention that often because I always have 1 or 2 nails that kind of lift a little bit, and I don't even think I apply acrylic around the cuticle area that well to not have that happen. So I definitely think that these 2 products do what they claim to do. Really happy with that purchase. But yeah, so back to the encapsulation. I was really sad because I really wanted these stars and moons to really pop, but they completely, some of the nails, if you look close, you could kind of see it, but not really. So this is why I grabbed the clear acrylic. But maybe this is something I could just show you guys too, because this is how I did my very first set. And for my acrylic, I am using the Mia Secret monomer and their acrylic system. I have no experience with any other type of acrylic. This is just based off reviews that made me decide to go with this system. And so far, I really like this acrylic and monomer. I haven't had any issues. So far, I'm really happy with that too. So when you're going to encapsulate nails, you want to just lay down a nice layer of clear acrylic to help you stick on the stones. I didn't realize how much confetti was in this acrylic, so I'm over here thinking it's gonna look amazing. So as you can see, I'm going in with the stones, and in my first set I fully did it acrylic, so you would do it the same way and then add the acrylic on top to basically encapsulate it. But for this, I used the yellow confetti from Mia Secret, and this is when I started to realize that it had a lot of confetti. I don't have any swatches of the acrylic, so I have nothing to base off to know if something's gonna work or not, but I figured I'd show you guys this anyway, because this is part of the learning process. You really, the stones completely got drowned out by the acrylic, but the acrylic nonetheless, it's very beautiful. I was actually really happy with it. So I've been going after acrylic that has really nice colors or has confetti in it, just to avoid having to buy so many nail polishes. I just think that having so many nail polishes, I don't want them to get old on me or stuff like that. So it's just a lot easier for me to work with colored acrylic and not try to do crazy designs on my nails. Maybe as I get better, I'll start experimenting with hand designs, but this is why I've been really into doing encapsulated nails or going after color acrylic with glitter like this. I've seen so many people do the 3B technique, but I'm not there yet, guys. You're gonna see me use a lot of acrylic because I'm still learning how to control the acrylic. I'm actually using a number 8 modanolis brush. This brush is small, I'm not gonna lie. I figured going smaller would be better, but it does pick up small beads, so I'm definitely gonna look into getting a number 10 brush. I think maybe around the cuticle area this would be good, but the reason why I chose the number 8 brush is because I have very small nail beds, so I just figured it'd be a lot easier for me to control the acrylic. But now that I am getting a little bit better, I think that a bigger brush would be much easier and I won't have to pick up so many beads. But this acrylic was actually really smooth, or maybe I'm just getting better because I just felt like the beads were laying out nicely. And I usually like to focus the acrylic in the apex area, which is the area that meets the tip and your natural nail, and just really build that up and then just brush the acrylic towards the edge so it has like that nice, you know, transition. It's not like a flat nail. And this is why I think I like going with the straight nail, because if I get a little out of hand or it starts to get a little too thick, I could just file it down and it won't be so obvious. But this is where you can't even see the stones, and I continue to do all my nails this way just to practice and so you guys could see it. But you do not, I don't recommend to do that at all. Just go straight in with the acrylic if you guys choose to try, or if you try to use this acrylic. But definitely the number 10 or the number 12 brush will be easier because these nails are long, so it just took me a lot more time going back and forth getting that acrylic on. So it definitely took me some time learning how to control the acrylic. When I dip my brush into the monomer, I just tap off the sides of the little cup. Like for example, I'll dip it in, hit the sides like twice, and then I go straight in with into the acrylic. So I don't drag the brush in the acrylic. I just dip it into the acrylic and let it soak up, and then I just grab that. So far it's working out really well. I've gotten better. My first set, it was a little difficult because I got some dry beads. I really didn't know how to control this, you know what I mean? It was my first time. Now that this is my 5th time working with acrylic, I definitely see that I'm getting much better with the consistency. So you could just see what I just did there. I dipped it in the monomer and tapped off twice and then straight into the acrylic, because you don't want it to be too dry, but you don't want the acrylic too wet to where it's really runny. And I think this really all comes down to experience. But I did watch ton of tutorials on acrylic application. And as I'm doing the acrylic, I tilt the nail side to side, all angles, because you can actually see if there's a dent or if there's like a little spot that needs more acrylic, or even in the cuticle area. I've been really trying to put less acrylic there, because if you put too much acrylic in the cuticle area, you're going to definitely have some issues with lifting. But you don't want to leave any bare nail to where maybe water or anything like that could get in. So just, you can see me looking, trying to double check. And even if it's a little lumpy, you know, I still don't have this acrylic application 100%. But I really have been going in with the filing, which I'm going to show you guys how I do it. And that's helped me smooth out the nails so much, as well as using the e-file, which is the nail drill. So, you know, it just really takes practice. Practice makes perfect. So I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm there enough to where the nails look decent and there's no lifting, which is the biggest thing. But like I said, I'm just showing you guys what I did. I didn't want to just go in with the acrylic because I don't know, I just started that way, and I started thinking too, like, maybe if I file it, the stones will peek through. But they didn't. I think I have like 2-3 nails that you can see it in the sun. You could kind of see them in the sun. But, you know, whatever. This is all part of practicing, like I said. So it was worth it anyway. But as I get to my left hand, I start using less and less accessories because I just didn't want to waste them either. I think if the stones would have peeked through with this acrylic, it would have looked so bomb. But you know, you learn. It's all learning. So I'm basically going to do the same thing to my right hand. This was a little bit challenging because, you know, trying to get your non-dominant hand to function in a way that you're not used to. is a little bit hard, but not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I think because the tips are big and the nails are bigger, I felt like I had a little bit more control of what I was doing compared to painting my natural nails. But I basically just put on the dehydrator, primer, and then we go right in with the acrylic. I just kept doing this part to practice, but towards the end I was literally putting just one stone. It has a lot to do with just practicing and taking your time, and so far I feel like I've gotten a lot better with controlling my left hand and just taking my time to make sure that I get it as even as possible with my other hand. I was actually really happy with the way they looked. I felt like this is getting a lot easier for me as far as working with the acrylic. And then right when you're done with your acrylic, you're going to go in, same thing with that file. We're going in with the 100 side, and I'm just filing the crap out of them. So when I first did my first set, I did do this step, but I didn't go on top of the nail. I started watching more tutorials, and I started seeing that a lot of people were really filing on top of the nail, smoothing it out, and I started thinking, you know what, I think I like this. For some reason, for me, I really like working with the hand file as opposed to depending on the drill to get the shape. So this has made such a difference in the way that my nails have been looking. So I'm basically just going in and filing them the same way that I did at the beginning, but this time we're going on top. So I'm just feeling the nail, looking for any spots that seem a little bulkier, and shaping it down, filing it down. So when we start using the drill, it really is just to seal in the acrylic. From the tutorials and the nail techs that I've watched, when you're using the drill, the main reason for that is to really seal in that acrylic in the cuticle area. That's like the main focus, because that's where we have lifting, because that's where the nail grows from, you know what I mean? So here is just really just going in, and this does take some time, but I think looking back at like my first stiletto shape, I think they look so much better now, and it really has made a difference, and I don't have to work with the drill so much. So I really enjoy this part, and I do this to all the nails, and then we're going to move on to sealing the cuticle area. So now I'm using my drill, and I decided to show you guys me working on my right hand with my left hand because the angle was just a lot better. And I used a much more not aggressive bit, but one that was a little bit tougher than what I used to prep the nail before. And we're just going in towards the cuticle area really carefully, making sure not to cut myself, really just sealing in that acrylic. And you'll notice the major difference, like they look much cleaner, it doesn't look bulky in that area. So I definitely think that this is, you know, an important step. And then I just go over the nail again, hitting the sides of the nails and going over any lumps that really didn't get smoothed down with the nail filing. And then I go back in with the nail file and just file one last time. I think this has made a big difference with my shape, because filing as much as you do really helps to get the shape nice. If you guys have ever done almond or stiletto shaped nails, you know how they get rounded so fast and the sides could get rounded. So doing it this way really makes the nail last. So I definitely recommend really filing and not being scared to get in there. So once you're done filing all your nails, you're going to go in with your buffer, really going to smooth that out, make everything nice and smooth so that you don't see any harsh lines or any of the filing that you did. So just make sure you guys go in there with that buffer, get it nice and smooth. And I also hit the back of the nail just to make sure that I don't have any sharp edges, you know, so that you don't cut yourself. So just right after you're done filing, just kind of run your nails, you know, on your hand, making sure that they're nice and smooth. Alright guys, so once you're done with all of that, I just made sure to wash my hands really well. I cleaned up just to not have any dust anywhere, because you don't want to get any hairs or dust on, you know, your nail polish or your gel polish, whatever it is that you're about to do. So just make sure you take that step, because it does get a little messy. And right here I'm going in with my Beetles gel polish. This is the base gel, so this is what you're going to apply first. I do one hand at a time, because once I put my nails into the LED lamp for 90 seconds with the base gel, it is a little bit sticky. So, you know, it's just better to just do one hand at a time. So after the base gel, I go in with the top coat, put it for another 120 seconds. And after that, you're good to go. You don't have to wipe it or anything like that. So that's what I really love about the Beetles gel polish, because I wanted something that I wouldn't have to wipe. And so far, I haven't had any issues. I also have the matte one, which so far I've loved. You know, it's really good too. So just make sure that you do nice thin layers, and make sure you cover every corner and everything like that, so that you don't see any type of lump. Because when you're working with gel polish, you know, it's very, I feel like it is a thicker polish, so it's obvious if you didn't paint it correctly. So even if it's clear, just make sure you apply it, you know, really nicely and smoothly. So once I was done with this, I took a bit of acetone on a cotton ball and I went over my fingers just to get all that residue off from soaking my nails off. I usually put oil on my fingers, but this time I completely forgot, so that's why I had like extra residue on my hands. So that's something you could do too. I did do it before I started my nails, but for some reason I had a lot of residue this day. But just take some pure acetone and it'll get it right off. So here we are, guys. These are the completed nails. I'm so happy with how they came out. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. Please let me know in the comments down below if you want more tutorials like this, what you think about them. Thumbs up if you love, and I'll see you guys in my next video.